Hi, let's add another layer to the intervention ideas to our ziggurat. You know the principles behind behaviorism and reinforcement, but let's connect the dots. We'll start with a quick review. Behaviorism. B.F. Skinner studied observable behaviors and their relationship to consequences. Specifically, he studied pigeons and the operant conditioning of the ability to connect different colored lights or tones and the consequence of earning food. He did indeed discover that there is a relationship between behavior and consequences, reinforcement and punishment. This became the basis of applied behavior analysis adventures. And the applied piece goes beyond pigeons. The idea behind the applied behavior analysis is that it is used for meaningful behavior change. It is evidence-based practice and highly recommended for young children with autism to achieve those pivotal skills that will potentially increase the likelihood of their full inclusion with peers once they enter school. So behavioral research on reinforcement is emphasized on the second level of the intervention ziggurat, just above the biological and sensory needs being met. That is reinforcement. Reinforcement, by definition, is something or anything that follows a behavior and increases the likelihood of the behavior occurring again in the future. So a reinforcer can increase any behavior. It could be a positive behavior or negative behavior, or a behavior you want or a behavior you don't want. Reinforcement's occurring, and that's why the behavior is occurring. That's what has been established. There is a connection between behavior and the consequence. So the ultimate goal of an intervention plan is to change the behavior. We're going to focus on reinforcement. I want you to note that when it comes to reinforcement, positive does not equal good and negative does not equal bad. But positive means you've added something or given something to the student, and negative means you've taken it away. So for positive reinforcements, that means you have given the student something that increases the future occurrence of that behavior. Negative reinforcement means you've taken something away that the student didn't like, and that will increase the student engaging the behavior in the future. So think about it. If I give praise to a student for having an interaction with a peer that is kind, and the student continues to be kind, what have I done? I've given positive reinforcement because I gave praise. If I take away recess to a student for acting out in class and the student continues to act out in class, I have given negative reinforcement. Taking away recess with negative reinforcement, if the continuation of the behavior indicates that it's reinforcement, it indicates the student didn't want to go to recess and is engaging in the behavior to avoid or get out of recess. There's also the idea of differential reinforcement. This is very important in planning for behavior change. There are three primary types of differential reinforcement introduced to you in your textbook. That's differential reinforcement of other behaviors, differential reinforcement of incompatible behaviors, and differential reinforcement of lower rates of behavior. DRO indicates that an individual is observed for a specific period of time and reinforced in the absence of specific behavior. So you're reinforcing any other behavior besides the one that is targeted for change. In other cases, we might want to teach the student another behavior, a new behavior that is incompatible with the undesired behavior. So you might teach a student to keep his hands in his pocket rather than touching peers when walking down the hall. So you will reinforce walking down the hall with his hands in his pocket, which should decrease touching peers if it increases keeping his hands in his pocket. And some behaviors only need to be reduced, but you don't want to eliminate, such as raising hand to give an answer or asking questions. We don't want to eliminate that from the child's repertoire, but sometimes raising hand too much or asking too many questions can impede the student's learning. So you would, if a student asks 10 questions in an hour, you would limit the number of questions he or she asks by reinforcing less question asking. In that case, a student would have to understand and be able to reduce the question asking. I'm going to stop here and let you watch a quick video that shows examples. These examples are for students with a more ASD level 2 or 3, but understand that differential reinforcement is a way to use reinforcement instead of punishment for any student. A student with autism, a student with autism level 1, a general ed, typically developing student. You can use these differential reinforcements. And just to avoid punishing the undesired behavior, we're going to reinforce other behaviors, incompatible behaviors that have been taught, or reducing the number of times the student engages in the behavior. Let's take a look.